Jaffer. He's the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute. Thanks so much for being with us, Jamil. You know, this attack hit, obviously, while the head of the UN was there. Coincidence, or was this a plan?
Well, look, it's hard for the Russians to have missed what was going on here, which is UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres there in Kyiv meeting with President Zelensky. The idea that they would launch 2 missile strikes, or at least 1 missile strike and 1 bomber strike, including against a residential building, a 25-story building. Radio Liberty broadcaster, an American broadcaster, killed, producer in that, or American associated producer, I should say, killed in that strike. So very obviously troubling decision, clearly an intentional decision by the Russians to undertake the strike while Secretary General Guterres was there.
So obviously a very strong message that Russian President Putin is trying to send. Who is he trying to send this to?
Well, I think he's trying to make clear to the international community that this war will continue, that he is not cowed by the provision of weapons by the West to the Ukrainians, nor by the Ukrainians' relative success in the battlefield. So Putin has also been pushed back from Kyiv. His forces have not made it there. They're refocused on the east, but he's made clear he will continue to strike civilian targets, schools, hospitals, and the like, and go after the capital, Kyiv. If he can't take it militarily with forces on the ground, he's going to make them pay a price with these type of missile strikes, these bombing strikes.
And that being said, I mean, this is arguably one of the boldest attacks so far. Do you expect this won't be the last of these bold actions from Putin? I mean, should we be worried about even more aggressive attacks?
I do worry a lot about that, Julie. I mean, I think the problem is that Vladimir Putin has suffered significant losses on the battlefield, and he's lost his image in across the world because his forces have been unsuccessful in a war he started with no legal causation. And so as a result, what we see here is him lashing out against the capital, lashing out against civilians, laying siege to cities, and engaging in war crimes, as the Secretary of State Antony Blinken has made clear. And so I do worry that this war and this conflict will get worse before we see any sort of peaceful resolution, in part because we've made clear we're not going to get engaged militarily. And as a result, there's very low cost for Vladimir Putin to continue to conduct these type of aggressive activities.
So, Jamil, is it possible that this could have the opposite effect, with the head of the UN now seeing firsthand what Putin is willing to do? Could this lead to the UN stepping in to do more, and what might that look like?
Well, one would hope that all the civilian deaths that we've seen, the 5 million plus refugees around the area, both inside and outside of Ukraine, total of about 9 million refugees, one would think that that alone would cause action. But maybe it does take a strike like this for the UN to do something. It's been high time for us to engage more actively on the battlefield, potentially implement a no-fly zone, as General Keith Alexander and I called for over a month and a half ago. Look, there are too many civilian deaths here. The Secretary General has now seen it firsthand. I worry, however, with the President of the United States and our allies have made clear nobody's willing to put troops on the ground, that Vladimir Putin has too much top cover and has lost too much credibility in the eyes of the world to not continue to lash out as he has done thus far.
Jamil Jaffer, thank you so much for your insight this evening. We appreciate it.